There was a time when intimacy felt effortless. You didn't think about your knees, your back, your breathing, or whether your body would cooperate. Desire came naturally, confidence followed, and physical closeness was simply another part of life. But somewhere along the way, things began to change. Maybe it happened so gradually that you hardly noticed. Maybe one morning you realized that what once felt comfortable now left you stiff for days. Or perhaps you started avoiding intimacy altogether, not because you didn't love your partner, but because you feared disappointment. If that sounds familiar, I want you to know something important. Growing older does not mean giving up a fulfilling sex life. In fact, many couples in their 50s, 60s, and even 70s report that intimacy becomes more meaningful than it was in their younger years. The difference is that they stop relying on youth and start relying on understanding. They learn how the body changes, how to work with those changes instead of fighting them, and how small adjustments can transform not only comfort, but also confidence. Today, we're going to talk about something that many people are curious about, but very few are willing to discuss openly. The best sex positions after 50 that improve comfort, reduce strain, and help many couples enjoy intimacy again. As a urologist, I've had countless conversations with men who believe their best years were behind them. They assumed that aching joints, slower erections, or reduced stamina meant the end of a satisfying sex life. But what surprised them wasn't a miracle pill or an expensive treatment. It was understanding that the body after 50 simply plays by different rules. Those rules are not meant to punish you. They're meant to guide you. Think about driving a classic car. You don't push it the same way you would a brand new sports car. You take care of it differently. You warm it up. You maintain it with attention and respect. And because of that care, it can continue running beautifully for decades. Your body deserves the same mindset. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that sexual performance depends only on erections. In reality, satisfying intimacy is influenced by dozens of factors working together. Healthy blood circulation delivers oxygen and nutrients throughout the body, including the tissues responsible for erections. Flexible muscles reduce discomfort during movement. Strong pelvic floor muscles support bladder control and sexual function. Healthy hormones help maintain desire, while emotional connection lowers stress and improves relaxation. None of these systems suddenly disappear after 50. They simply require more attention. Many men become anxious the first time they notice an erection isn't as firm as it used to be. Anxiety quickly becomes the enemy. The brain begins asking questions that create even more pressure. What if it happens again? What if my partner notices? What if I'm getting too old? Ironically, those thoughts themselves can interfere with erections. An erection begins in the brain long before it happens in the body. When you're relaxed, your nervous system allows blood vessels to widen, increasing blood flow into the penis. But when stress takes over, your body releases stress hormones that prepare you to fight or run away, not to experience intimacy. Blood is redirected toward survival, not pleasure. Imagine trying to fill a garden hose while someone keeps stepping on it. No matter how much water you add, the flow is restricted. Stress works in much the same way. That's why the conversation today isn't simply about positions. It's about creating an environment where your body can perform naturally instead of struggling against pain, stiffness, and unnecessary pressure. Let's start by understanding what actually changes after 50. One of the first changes involves blood vessels. As we age, arteries naturally become less flexible. Conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, elevated cholesterol, and smoking can accelerate this process. Since erections depend on healthy blood flow, even small changes in circulation can become noticeable during intimacy. The good news is that many of these changes are manageable. Regular physical activity improves cardiovascular health. Maintaining a healthy weight reduces inflammation. Controlling blood sugar protects delicate blood vessels. Good sleep supports hormone balance. These everyday habits often improve sexual health far more than people expect. Then there are the joints. The hips may not rotate as freely. Knees become sensitive after years of walking, climbing stairs, or previous injuries. Lower back stiffness becomes common. Arthritis may make certain movements painful. Here's where many couples unknowingly create problems. Instead of adapting their movements, they continue trying positions that worked 20 or 30 years ago. They push through discomfort because they assume that's normal. Unfortunately, pain activates protective muscles, increases tension, and makes intimacy far less enjoyable. Comfort is not laziness. Comfort allows relaxation. Relaxation improves circulation. Better circulation supports stronger erections. Everything is connected. Another major factor is the pelvic floor, a group of muscles many people have never even heard about. These muscles sit at the base of the pelvis like a supportive hammock. They help control urination, support the bladder and bowel, and contribute to erectile function and ejaculation. Over time, these muscles can weaken just like any other muscle in the body. Fortunately, strengthening them through pelvic floor exercises can improve urinary control and may benefit sexual function for some men. While they're not a cure for every case of erectile dysfunction, they're an important part of overall pelvic health. Now let's talk about hormones. Testosterone naturally declines with age, but usually very gradually. Many men assume every change in sexual desire is caused by low testosterone. That's rarely the whole story. Poor sleep can reduce energy and libido. Chronic stress affects hormone balance. Certain medications may influence sexual function. Depression can reduce interest in intimacy. Relationship problems often play a larger role than hormones alone. This is why a complete evaluation is so important if symptoms become persistent. Looking only at testosterone is like checking the fuel gauge while ignoring the engine, tires, and brakes. Real sexual wellness comes from caring for the whole person. I remember speaking with a patient named Robert, a retired engineer in his early 60s. He walked into my office, convinced he had reached the end of his sexual life. "My body just doesn't work anymore," he said quietly. As we talked, I learned something interesting. He wasn't avoiding intimacy because of poor erections. He was avoiding it because his hips hurt every time he tried to move the way he did in his 40s. His wife assumed he had lost interest in her. He assumed his body was failing. Neither assumption was true. They simply hadn't adapted. After discussing comfortable positions, gentle stretching, better communication, and a few lifestyle improvements, he returned several months later with a completely different attitude. He smiled before sitting down. "I thought I needed medication." He laughed. "What I really needed was a new perspective." Stories like Robert's are far more common than most people realize. Many couples silently suffer because they never discuss what they're experiencing. Pride keeps men quiet. Fear keeps partners from asking questions. Misunderstandings slowly replace affection. Communication becomes medicine long before any prescription does. One simple conversation can remove years of unnecessary worry. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack every day without realizing someone could help you take it off. That's what honest communication often feels like. Instead of saying nothing, imagine saying something as simple as, "My back has been bothering me lately." Can we slow down and find what's comfortable for both of us? That single sentence changes everything. Instead of interpreting hesitation as rejection, your partner hears honesty. Instead of pressure, you create teamwork. Instead of fear, you create trust. That emotional safety has real biological effects. Feeling emotionally secure lowers stress hormones, relaxes muscles, and allows the body to respond more naturally. Science consistently shows that emotional intimacy and physical intimacy are deeply connected. This becomes even more important after 50 because relationships often become richer with time. You know each other's strengths. You've survived challenges together. You've celebrated victories. You've experienced loss. All those shared moments create a foundation that youthful passion alone cannot replace. The goal isn't to recreate your 20s. The goal is to create the best version of intimacy for this stage of life. And surprisingly, many couples discover that slower, more thoughtful intimacy becomes more satisfying than anything they experienced decades earlier. There's another important truth that often goes unspoken. Pain should never be accepted as normal. Occasional muscle soreness after unfamiliar activity is one thing. Persistent pain during intimacy is another. Joint pain, severe back discomfort, significant erectile problems, urinary symptoms, or pain with ejaculation deserve medical evaluation. Sometimes they're related to arthritis or muscle strain. Other times they can signal underlying health conditions that should not be ignored. Your sexual health is often a window into your overall health. In many cases, erectile dysfunction can be an early sign of cardiovascular disease because the arteries supplying the penis are smaller than those supplying the heart. Problems may appear there first, making sexual symptoms an opportunity to detect health issues before something more serious occurs. Rather than seeing these changes as embarrassing, think of them as valuable information your body is providing. It's not weakness, it's communication. And when you listen, you have the opportunity to improve not just your intimate life, but your long-term health as well. In the next part, we're going to explore the first group of positions that many urologists and physical therapists recommend for couples over 50. You'll discover why certain positions reduce pressure on the hips, knees, and lower back, how they may improve comfort and confidence, and why the position many people assume is the best often isn't the healthiest choice at all. That first recommendation surprises almost everyone, yet once they understand the science behind it, they rarely go back to their old habits. As we come to the end of this first part, I want to leave you with one simple thought that has the power to change the way you see aging forever. Growing older is not the end of intimacy. It is the beginning of a different kind of wisdom. Your body may move differently than it did 20 years ago. Your joints may ask for more patience. Your heart may need a little more care, but none of that means your capacity to love, connect, and experience deep intimacy has disappeared. In many ways, it can become stronger than ever before. Remember this, your age is not your greatest obstacle. Fear is. Silence is. The belief that it's too late is the moment you replace fear with knowledge, pressure with patience, and performance with partnership. Everything begins to change. In the next part, I'm going to reveal the first sex positions that many urologists and physical therapists recommend for adults over 50, not because they're trendy, but because they reduce stress on the knees, hips, lower back, and shoulders while helping many couples feel more relaxed, confident, and connected. You'll also discover the one position that countless couples continue using without realizing it may be causing unnecessary discomfort and making erections harder to maintain. Trust me, You won't want to miss what's coming next because one small adjustment could completely transform the way you experience intimacy for years to come. If you found this information valuable, take a moment to like this video. It helps us reach more people who are quietly struggling with the same questions. Share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. We read every one of them, and your story may encourage someone who feels alone. And if you want science-based, practical advice to help you stay healthy, confident, and active well into your later years, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Your healthiest, strongest, and most fulfilling years may not be behind you. They may be waiting for you, starting today.